rise for the entrance of the official party. Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia, and Her Honor Miss Darlene Savage. Thank you so much. Please be seated. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Vanessa Wright, and it is my privilege to serve as your MC for today's African Heritage Month launch and proclamation. As we begin, we pause in a spirit of gratitude to acknowledge that we are gathered here in Mi'kma'ki, the essential and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people covered by the peace and friendship treaties. We honor the Mi'kmaq, their stewardship of this land, and their enduring presence. We also recognize the historic and contemporary African Nova Scotian communities, including those right here in this region. Our elders, families, and community builders have carried stories of resilience, faith, and culture that shape who we are and the work that we do here at the Black Cultural Center. And now we begin with our anthems from Anya Colley B from Graham Creighton Junior High with O Canada.
true nor strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you so much, Anya. Please remain standing as we continue with Lift Every Voice, performed by Keontae Beals.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven rings with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicings rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Keontae. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor to introduce His Honor, the Honorable Mike Savage, Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia, to deliver remarks.
Well, thank you very much. Premier Keystone, ministers, MLAs, Leader of the Opposition, who else do we have? Senator Tony Higgins, distinguished guests, all, ladies and gentlemen. As the King's representative in Nova Scotia, it's a pleasure to join you for this special annual event. Darlene and I are delighted to be here for the official provincial launch of African Heritage Month here in this centre, which has done so much to highlight the important history of African Nova Scotians. À titre de représentant de l'Oine de l'Écosse, c'est avec grand plaisir que je me joins à vous pour cette cérémonie spéciale. Darlene et moi sommes ravis de nous joindre à vous pour le lancement officiel provincial du mois de patrimoine africain. Ça centre beaucoup contribué à mettre en lumière l'histoire importante des Afro-Néo-Écossais. Over the coming month, I'm excited to celebrate the legacy, the resilience, and the creativity of African Nova Scotians and people of African descent. A community whose history is deeply interwoven with the history of our province and Canada as a whole. Through the arts, culture, business, education, and connections with elders, we see powerful expressions of identity and joy that have profoundly shaped our shared history. This year's theme, Strength and Unity, moving forward with purpose, prosperity, power, and progress, encourage us to look forward to a future and to what we can achieve together, while also reflecting on the more than 4 centuries of struggle, but achievement which have been the hallmark of the African Nova Scotia community here in Nova Scotia. Last month, I was delighted to approve the appointment of Carolyn Thomas of East Preston to be one of the newest members of the Order of Nova Scotia. Her work has indeed touched lives, empowering women, mentoring youth, and fostering dialogue on inclusion and diversity. A most remarkable Nova Scotian in whom we can all take pride. Educating all Nova Scotians about African Nova Scotian history will serve to unite us regardless of race or origin. I would have to say that as good citizens, we have an obligation to learn about and understand the history of our fellow Nova Scotians. It's the right thing to do to acknowledge the imperfections of our history. This year's African Heritage Month theme is very appropriate, as all Nova Scotians stand on the shoulders of those who've been before, as we look ahead to a bright and prosperous future. I want to take the opportunity as Lieutenant Governor, I know the Premier and ministers and others would echo this, for people to seek out some of the events and acknowledgements of this month. There's a lot that's going on. I look forward, for example, this weekend to being in Cape Breton, to dance with some of the MLAs who we danced with last year, so it's serious work to remember our history, but it's also an opportunity for us all together to celebrate progress, even as we continue to understand that this is a province that's had a history of systemic racism, things that we all need to overcome together. I look forward to seeing many of you over the next month. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Walawiak.
Your Honor, thank you for those remarks and for your presence with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Premier of Nova Scotia, the Honourable Tim Houston, to deliver remarks and the African Heritage Month Proclamation.
Thank you for that warm welcome. What a pleasure to be here in the Black Cultural Centre for Nova Scotia, but in so many ways the Black Cultural Centre for Canada. This is something I'm going to read a proclamation that we're here today to launch our Provincial African Heritage Month. 2026, this year's theme is Strength in Unity. This is such a powerful statement and so timely as well in the world that we live in. When we look at the world that we live in today, one thing is clear: we need to stand together and approach it together. So African Nova Scotians and people of African descent have shown this strength of togetherness for generations, through hardship, through hope, through faith, through culture, through family. This strength has really been a major factor in shaping the province that we live in today, and we thank you for that. So I want to welcome my caucus and cabinet colleagues as well, and a special shout out to Minister Gross, who does such an incredible job. On behalf of the province, thank you to everyone who's here today for taking the time to recognize the importance of today. I'll now read the official proclamation. Proclamation, African Heritage Month. Whereas, for more than 400 years, African Nova Scotian communities have demonstrated strength through unity, supporting one another in the face of inequity and injustice, preserving culture and identity, and passing down knowledge, resilience, and pride from generation to generation. And whereas unity has been the foundation of progress, enabling African Nova Scotians to advocate collectively for equity, justice, and opportunity, and to advance meaningful change in education, health, economic development, and community well-being. And whereas the theme of African Heritage Month 2026, Strength in Unity, moving forward with purpose, prosperity, power, and progress, reminds us that our shared future depends on collaboration, mutual respect, and continued partnership to ensure that all communities thrive. Therefore, I, Tim Houston, Premier of Nova Scotia, do hereby proclaim February 2026 as African Heritage Month in the Province of Nova Scotia, and encourage all Nova Scotians to learn, to reflect, and to celebrate the strength that comes from unity. Thank you.
Premier Houston, thank you so much. We will now proceed to the official unveiling of the African Heritage Month 2026 poster. I would like to invite His Honor the Lieutenant Governor, Premier Houston, and the Minister of African Nova Scotian Affairs to please come forward. Once the poster is unveiled, we'll pause briefly for photographs. Thank you, everyone. It is now my pleasure to invite the Minister of African Nova Scotian Affairs, the Honourable Twyla Gross, to deliver remarks.
Lieutenant Governor in her honor, Premier, honorable guest, Senator Ince, Minister Hallman, Minister Martin, official leader of the opposition, MLAs, honored elders, honored guests, community members, family, and friends. Thank you for being here. Thank you for gathering in this place, the Black Cultural Center, that has become a living archive and a reminder that we are still here, still rising, still becoming. We've already heard many wise and powerful words today. And as I would like to join these voices and acknowledge how timely the theme is, a strength in unity speaks not just to what we celebrate, but what is needed and what we must choose. Because unity is not something that happens on its own. It is something we build with purpose and patience every day. We build it when we honor those who came before us, those who fought for recognition, for justice, for the right to belong. We build it when we remember that the progress we see today was paid for with sacrifice. And we build it when we refuse to accept prosperity for the few and instead strive for dignity, opportunity, and safety for all. Unity is not only about standing together against what comes from outside. It is also about reaching across what separates us from within, across misunderstandings, across disagreements, across pain that has not yet healed. Let this month be a promise to each other. Let us find together answers to questions like, what does unity require of me? How do I make space for others? How can I help carry the load? How do I bridge what divides us? We are the descendants of people who planted hope in hard ground, people who built churches, schools, and families with little more than faith in each other. They knew that survival was not a solo act, that progress does not come without struggle, and that real change begins in community. We honor their fight by continuing it, by choosing connection over conflict, and by remembering that none of us moves forward unless all of us do. African Heritage Month is a time to lift up our brilliance, our resilience, our culture. But it's also a time to remember what binds us. Not just our shared past, but our shared future. Because our history is Nova Scotia's history. Our future is Nova Scotia's future. And our strength has always been in unity. For when we rise as one, even the smallest spark becomes a horizon wide with possibility. Thank you.
Minister Gross, thank you so much. And now please welcome Olubenga Akintakun for a musical performance. I don't know about everybody else, but I feel like I can listen to that all day. That just puts you in such a good spirit. Thank you so much. I would now like to bring your attention to the screens on stage for a video presentation produced by Russell Gross.
For more than 400 years, African Nova Scotians have shaped this province through courage, resilience, culture, and community. African Heritage Month is a time to honor the stories, struggles, and achievements of people of African descent. It's time to remember where we come from, celebrate how far we've come, and commit to where we're going together. The roots of African Heritage Month go back to 1926, when historian Dr. Carter G. Woodson created Negro History Week. Nova Scotia led the way in Canada, helping inspire national recognition. Today, Nova Scotia is home to over 52 historic African Nova Scotia communities. Their legacy lives on through culture, leadership, and service. Our 2026 theme, Strengthen Unity Moving Forward with Purpose, Prosperity, Power, and Progress. This theme reminds us, when we stand together, we move forward together. Our unity is powerful, active, and transformational. Strengthen Unity honors our elders, lifts our youth, and connects our communities. It reminds us our future is built on shared responsibility and collective hope.
Hello, I'm Mayor Suzanne Lonas-Croft. The town of Mahone Bay joins you in celebration of African Heritage Month, and with that, the strength, resilience, and wisdom of the elders whose stories and leadership continue to shape our communities.
Hello, I'm Mayor Nancy Dix from the town of New Glasgow. February is African Heritage Month, a time to recognize and celebrate the history, culture, and contributions of African Nova Scotians. New Glasgow is proud to be one of more than 50 recognized African Nova Scotian communities in the province.
Here to kick off the launch of African Heritage Month. We're in the African Heritage and Friendship Center at Guysborough Academy, Shadowbuckle Education Center, which promotes the understanding and culture of the African heritage.
This February, we invite all Nova Scotians to learn, reflect, and celebrate African Heritage Month in their communities, schools, businesses, and workplaces. Strengthen unity, moving forward with purpose, prosperity, power, and progress.
We will now hear remarks from Crystal Mulder of the African Heritage Month Information Network.
Your Honor, Mrs. Savage, Premier Sue, Minister Gross, Minister Holman, Senator Ince. Super happy to see you. All the other MLAs, Leader of the Opposition, Ms. Chender, good to see you. Brothers and sisters, community members, family, glad to see you all. On behalf of the African Heritage Month Information Network, coordinated by the Black Cultural Center for Nova Scotia, thank you for being here today at the provincial launch of African Heritage Month 2026. 42 years, people. Celebrate! The African Heritage Month Information Network, or AHMIN, is a province-wide partnership that brings together community organizations, cultural institutions, municipalities, and government partners to support African Heritage Month celebrations across Nova Scotia. The network includes the Black Culture Center, the African Nova Scotian Affairs Office, the Amherst Black Education Committee, the African Nova Scotian Western Service Providers Network, the Black History Month Association, the Cumberland African Nova Scotian Association, the Valley African Nova Scotian Development Association, Halifax Regional Municipalities African Nova Scotian Integration Office, the Guysborough Antigonish Strait African Regional Network, and the Upper Big Tragedy Seniors Action Committee. One of my faults. Together we work to connect communities, coordinate events, share educational resources, and ensure African Heritage Month is visible in schools, workplaces, and communities from one end of the province to the other. This year's theme, Strength and Unity, Moving Forward with Purpose, Prosperity, Power, and Progress, reflects the heart of this network. Our strength is found in our collective efforts, shared stories, and commitment to move forward together. Across the province, African Heritage Month will be celebrated in many ways. Here's just a few highlights, in chronological order. Tomorrow evening, January 28th at 7 p.m., the Halifax Municipal African Heritage Month launch and proclamation will take place at Halifax Central Library in the Paulo Regan Hall. Beginning at 7, and just to let you all know, there's a reception to follow after the entertainment and all that official doing. January 31st from 7 to 11:30 p.m. at Cape Breton. Cape Breton will host the 18th African Nova Scotian Heritage Month Gala. Following the Black Loyalist Heritage Center's African Heritage Month Proclamation. On February 2nd from 6 to 7:30, Municipality of the County of Kings will hold their African Heritage Month launch. February 3rd from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., the Antigonish African Heritage Month Launch 2026 will take place at the Joyce Family Atrium in the Mulrooney Building at St. Francis Xavier University. And to close out the month in grand style, their words, not mine, the Black Cultural Center of Nova Scotia will hold their African Heritage Month Gala, which will take place February 28th, and it will close out the month, at 5 p.m. at the Halifax Convention Center. These events and many others reflect the incredible energy and commitment across Nova Scotia to honor African Heritage Month. We invite anyone and everyone to explore the full calendar of events at ahm.bccnsweb.com and to take part in celebrations in your own communities. Together, through this network and through unity, we move forward with purpose, prosperity, power, and progress. Thank you, and enjoy the 42nd African Heritage Month in Nova Scotia.
Thank you, Crystal. It is now my pleasure to welcome Russell Gross, Chief Executive Officer at the Black Cultural Center for Nova Scotia, to bring greetings and closing reflections.
Good afternoon, everyone. Your honors, Premier Houston, Minister Gross, distinguished guests, friends, family, all those that are watching online. Thank you for being here today for this important moment, a moment where we launch African Heritage Month 2026 here in the province of Nova Scotia. As we come to a close of this provincial launch, I want to pause and reflect on what this year truly means. Across Canada, we're celebrating 30 years of Black History Month as a nationally recognized celebration. But as all of you know, here in Nova Scotia, our story goes even deeper. For more than 42 years, our communities have been gathering, teaching, honoring, and celebrating African Heritage Month long before national recognition existed. That's a powerful statement for African Nova Scotians, and the 52 historic communities. That tells us something powerful. It tells us that Nova Scotia didn't wait to be seen. Our community stood up, they spoke out, and they carried their history forward with courage, pride, and purpose. You can see that on the walls of this building. As we celebrate African Heritage Month, we think of this year's provincial theme: strength and unity, moving forward with purpose, prosperity, and power, and progress. This theme did not come from one voice or one person at the table. It came from the community. It was a shared community sentiment. We had meaningful conversations and input from community, and I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge Dr. Sherry Borden-Colley and Deanna Muhammad, who guided the network in providing this theme. We had a public website where you could put theme ideas, and their two themes were a blend of the theme that we came up with. Their insight and leadership was instrumental in capturing the spirit of what 2026 stands for and guiding the network of members from across the province to come up with a wonderful theme. I also want to recognize Paul Adams Jr., who's our graphic designer, and he's been so for the last 10 years, including I've seen the days where we first started the process, and Paul was a young student at NSCC, and he was seeking guidance, and he would work with the committee, and it'd be a lot of late hours and a lot of back and forth, to now being an accomplished graphic designer that we're so proud to honor his work. Our provincial theme also connects beautifully with the national theme, which honors 30 years of Black History Month in Canada and celebrates Black brilliance across generations. It's quite remarkable that the national theme uses the term Black brilliance. We used that last year. So we're ahead of the game. Together, they remind us that our history is not something we only reflect on in February. It's something that we carry forward every day through our actions, our leadership, and our communities. It has to become part of our DNA. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Office of African Nova Scotia Affairs for their dedication in making this day possible and for supporting the poster that is created. We are also supportive and thankful for the support of the African Canadian Services Division of the Department of Education to ensure that these posters get out into the schools from P to 12 across the province from one end to the other in both official languages. Remarkable. I also would like to thank the staff of the Black Cultural Center and the members of the African Heritage Month Information Network. The network is a volunteer-based network that has stakeholders and organizations that are from across the province. And each year we get together in virtual meetings and deliberate about the theme and the poster. And sometimes we have heated discussions, but it's all in love to come up with a wonderful theme. So thank them for their work. Here at the Black Cultural Center for Nova Scotia and throughout African Heritage Month, we'd like you to just think about the theme. Think about strength and unity. Think about the togetherness as we work together to share our history, to get to the day where Black History Month is not a month that's obscure, that we learn the history on that month, that it becomes a part of the fabric of our history day after day. So I'll say this in closing. Today is not an ending, the ending of January, so to speak. It's a beginning of a month filled with learning, celebration, reflection, and history across our province of Nova Scotia, and quite frankly, across Canada. So as you leave here today, I would like to carry this message with you. Let unity guide your steps. Let your purpose shape the work that you do. Let prosperity be shared. Let's celebrate our shared history, and let progress be something that we build together. Thank you for standing with us, all of you that are here today and watching online. Thank you for believing in the work of sharing the history and uniqueness of African Nova Scotia culture, and thank you for being a part of this historic moment. Happy African Heritage Month, and celebrate like none other before. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Russell, and thank you to all of today's presenters and performers. Before Before we conclude, I ask once again that we observe proper protocol. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the departure of His Honor, the Honorable Mike Savage, Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia, and Her Honor, Ms. Darlene Savage. Thank you so much. Please be seated. On behalf of the Black Cultural Center for Nova Scotia and our partners, thank you so much for joining us, especially with the weather conditions out there. You are now warmly invited to the reception and to get your copy of this year's poster. Congratulations again on the launch of African Heritage Month 2026, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you.
They want to put your